Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, y'all. I have just had a time here trying to get my stuff worked out. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, the verdict is in. The verdict is in. In the ASAP Rocky trial, we are awaiting the jury to come back in. They're supposed to be back in, and we probably got about 5 minutes. So definitely sit back. I am going to share my screen. And we are just waiting. We are just waiting at this point to see when the verdict, the jury comes in, and then we're going to go after they come and they read the verdict. We're going to figure out what's to happen. Remember, he has 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. So it's very important we know that. He is facing now some people say 24 years, but I do remember that the prosecution and the judge said that they were asking right at 10 years is what they said they're going to ask. But with this prosecution, we don't know what they're going to ask, if they're not going to ask or anything like that. We are very unsure about that. Because each charge can get you up to 9 years, but 9 plus 9 is 18. I don't know where they're getting the 24, unless they're saying that each charge is going to get you 12 years. I'm not sure. But from what my understanding is, if he's convicted on both counts, he won't get, he'll get 10 years. He can get, well, he can actually, yeah, he can get he can get up to 10 years per charge. So we're going to see. Y'all hit that like button as you come in. The jury is supposed, hey, how you, Mr. YouTube? The jury is supposed to be in the next 5 minutes or so. So we will definitely definitely, we're just waiting on that right now. But if you're not familiar with this trial, ASAP Rocky, who is a member of the ASAP mob, who is a rapper, he went on trial 2 weeks ago for an incident that happened on November 6, 2021. What was testified in court is that ASAP Rocky and one of his ASAP mates, ASAP Relly, got into it, and they've had pretty much a back and forth argument, back and forth, uh, and it had everything to do with one of their ASAP members, ASAP Josh, who passed away. Apparently, it had been known that ASAP Rocky had made mention that he was going to pay for the funeral, and that's what he told the family. And his payment didn't come quick enough, I guess, for ASAP Relly. They had some words, and they have been having like back and forth words about that. And also, we learned there's other stuff that they've had back and forth words about. So it all culminates up to November 5th. November 6th of 2021. ASAP Rocky was in town because he was working. He was at the Complex Con. He was doing a set with them. ASAP Relly, according to his testimony, said that he was in town because he was working with one of his artists. He says that there were text messages exchanged. They ended up meeting off of Hollywood Boulevard near a parking garage. They argued, pushing, shoving ensued. ASAP Relly ASAP Relly and ASAP Rocky pushing and shoving. They pushed into the car park garage, and then as they were coming out, ASAP Ills got in between them, and they were pushing and shoving. And then as they went out of camera, when they came back into camera, you saw ASAP Rocky, who looked like he was pulling a gun out, he was because he came back into screen with his hand behind his back and the gun behind his back. So that was what the prosecution considered the first instance or the first charge. uh ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ills, ASAP 12E, and ASAP Relly walked away. ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ills, and ASAP 12E walked away, or were walking fast and walked away. ASAP Relly followed behind them, and then they turned the corner, and so they were literally on the streets. I think it was Argyle and Selma. I can't remember what the names of the streets are, but they were on the back. So it was really behind the car park. A struggle ensued, stuffly, and then there was a motion. Now I'm telling you about this particular one because the the video was grainy. We really couldn't see like we needed to see, and the video was grainy, and it ended up ASAP Rocky shot 2 shots. He claims that that was a prop gun. That the prop gun it shot bullets, but it didn't shoot or eject shell casings. Well, what happened was ASAP Relly testified that he went back to the scene that evening and recovered 2 shell casings. Now, what was also testified to is that uh, a witness who lived on the 7th floor of an apartment high rise that was across the street from the parking garage, who was sitting outside of her balcony, and she was smoking that ganja. She saw the incident happen, and she saw them go around the corner. She said she heard the shots. She said when they went around the corner, it was 4 people. When she saw it, it was only 3 leaving. She thought that someone was hurt, so she called the police. After she called the police, about 7 officers responded. They were out in that area where the fight in the shooting took place. They searched the area because there were cars and things back there. They were looking to see if cars had been hit. They were looking to see if there was any signs of blood, if there was any signs of shell casings and all these other stuff like that. So they were looking at that type of situation to see what happened. They did not find any indications that there was a shooting. They didn't find any shell casings or anything like that. Was that significant? Yes. The reason why it was significant because again, ASAP Rocky he has 2 counts of assault with a semi-automatic weapon, and what we know about semi-automatic weapons is that they eject shell casings, and so they were looking for shell casings. Now, if you have a revolver, the revolver is not going to eject any shell casings. So they were like, we didn't see any signs that a shooting took place. Again, they were looking for bullet holes, shell casings, but they couldn't say that something didn't happen simply because they got a 911 call that something happened. So they combed the area and all that other stuff, and they were there about an hour. So once they were satisfied that they couldn't find anything, they left. Now, ASAP really says, he's the victim in this case, that he went back to the scene about an hour and a half later after the incident happened. And now that's about 30 minutes after the police had been there. And he says that he walked around with his camera phone and flashed on and picked up 2 shell casings. Now, why is that significant? Because that's what he testified to. There was no video evidence showing that he had gone back. Now, there was somebody on video about 10 to 15 minutes after the police had left, but ASAP Relly said it wasn't him. Also, ASAP Relly testified that him and his girlfriend went back and was looking for cartridges, but there is no video evidence showing that he did that. Now, he took pictures with his camera phone, and at this point, I'm calling him CSI Relly. He went back. He says he went back to the scene, and he picked up shell casings. When he was also questioned, he said, "Hold on." When he went back to the scene, he said that before he went to the scene, him and his girlfriend went to Dunkin's, and they got a paper bag and a pen and went back to the scene, picked up the shell casings, put them in the Dunkin' Donuts bag, and then 2 days later, they went to the police. Now, prior to the 2 days, ASAP Relly spent all night and pretty much half of the day calling for a lawyer because he was trying to see whether or not that he could sue. I think a lawyer explained to him, not the night of, but he testified that he talked to the lawyer that evening, and the lawyer instructed him to go back to the scene. Phone records show that he lied. He went to the police station 2 days later. They had and turned in the bullets and things like that. Now, I'm not sure at this point because there was some video and things given, and I'm not sure if the police had gathered the surveillance videos in 2 days or not. However, he says that he picked up the shell casings. He gave the shell casings to the police. The police took the shell casings. So this case, it's pretty much sat. It pretty much sat. And what happened, it was assigned to a detective. They had the video. They called in ASAP Relly to talk about the video and everything like that. And he explained his version of what happened. Once he explained his version of what happened, let me back up. So he went to the police department 2 days after the incident and turned in the police bullets. He left and went to New York. Hello there. Hello, everyone. Hey, Blue. Hey, Torian. After he talked with the police and filed a report, he went back to New York. He got in touch with an attorney, and the attorney was saying, well, since a case of this magnitude, and you said that you were hit, you need to go to the emergency room. Now, he didn't go to the emergency room when he was in Los Angeles. He waited till he went to New York to go to the emergency room, but no one had copies. Now, he took pictures. Again, he's ASAP Rocky, but now he's CSI Rocky. He took pictures of his hand injury and where his knuckles, you could see where his knuckles were injured. And he filed a lawsuit against ASAP Rocky, a civil lawsuit. And because he was wanting his, he claimed he wanted his medical bills paid, and he wanted damages. But and once that was in motion, because I remember that particular hearing before they had the preliminary here, talk about that particular hearing before they had the preliminary hearing. And he basically said that he was suing for damages and things like that. He couldn't really get this lawsuit jumping off the ground until the police did what they needed to do with the investigation. So this is where we're coming from right now. So we've been in court for 2 weeks, and I'm telling you, it has been the craziest thing. The prosecutor is very hyperbolic and is very grandiose. Then you have the defense attorney. He is really straight New York. He gives me New York Italian kind of guy, and they have been going at it and bumping heads. But what have we discovered during this trial? The one thing that we find out that ASAP Relly and the truth can never be in lockstep. This man has gotten on that stand, and he has lied. And I mean, he tells simple lies that are unnecessary to tell. Number one, he says that he went back to the scene, and he went to Dunkin' Donuts to get a paper bag and a pen. Now, this was supposed to have been about 11, according to the time stamp on the pictures that he took with his phone, that was like 11:49 p.m. that evening. Well, he was caught in a lie because Dunkin' Donuts closed at 11 o'clock. When they asked him what time did he go, he said him and his girlfriend left. They went to Dunkin' Donuts, and then they got the thing. What time did you go to Dunkin' Donuts? Oh, it was probably, we left. So we went to Dunkin' Donuts and got to the scene. So it was about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. Dunkin' Donuts is on Hollywood Boulevard. Hollywood Boulevard is where he was staying in one of the hotels. Well, if he got there, so that means he left his hotel at about 11:30. He got to Dunkin' Donuts, did a little transaction, got a paper bag, and then went to the scene, which is really like 1 or 2 blocks away. Well, Dunkin' Donuts closed at 11 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So there he lied. Number two, he said that his girlfriend went with him. There's no video evidence showing Relly or his girlfriend at the scene with the camera, with the thing, looking for shell casings. So we have that lie he caught up. The second lie he did was he said that ASAP Rocky was the aggressor, meaning that ASAP Rocky was texting him and threatening him and all of this other stuff. We find out later when he turned his phone into the police that he deleted all of his conversations with ASAP Rocky, but he didn't realize that they could recover those deleted text messages. I believe he had an iPhone because I know sometimes when if I have a text message that I'm through with or somebody, because I don't like to keep big, I don't like to have to scroll through my text messages, that I will delete it. But once somebody texts me back, that whole thread reappears. So he got caught in the lie, and he was then confronted with his words, his text messages to Rocky, and all of his stuff that was text message to Rocky. And then he wants to say, well, this is not right. This is AI. You're pulling stuff up as AI. The defense attorney had to tell him, look, this is what we got from the prosecution. This is from your phone that you gave the prosecution. Oh. Well, because first he testified that Rocky had been threatening him, had been texting him, and all of this other stuff. And he was just trying to work it out with Rocky. Well, when you look at the text messages, you see that he wasn't working nothing out. He was spewing vitriol to not only ASAP Rocky, he was spewing vitriol to the other members of ASAP in regards to what was going on with ASAP Josh and other things that were going on. That's lie number two that he was caught in. Then there was a phone call that was done by someone named Wally. We thought he said Wale because I was like, oh, Lord, Wale is coming in here. Wale the rapper, but this is some guy named Wally. And Wally is some kind of tech guy. And ASAP really was calling Wally to get him to work on his social media, to be able to put this information out on social media as a negative thing towards ASAP Rocky. And Wally said that, he found that suspicious. So he ended up recording ASAP Relly. When he was confronted with the recordings, ASAP Rocky Relly said that that's AI, that wasn't him. So the defense flew in Wally in, who corroborated, because I think New York is a one side state that, if you're recording something, you can give consent. The other person doesn't have to give consent. So he played the recordings, and it was ASAP Relly, and ASAP Relly was talking about how he wanted to get money out of ASAP Rocky, and he couldn't just go and ask him for the money because that would be considered to be extortion, yada, 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 yada. He said he didn't have those conversations, that was AI. Fine. So then there's this timeline because nobody knew what would happen those 2 days before he went to the police. The defense entered evidence about asking ASAP Relly, has he ever shot a gun? Has he ever fired a gun? He tells them no. Hey, Miss Perspective Pat. He tells them no, he has not fired a gun. They go to his Instagram, and apparently they went to his Instagram. Now, I don't know what they call that. What is that little section of the top part of the Instagram where there's like you could put photos and reels and stuff like that on the top? I just have I don't know if y'all can see that, but this is on Tony Baker's site. But what do y'all call that? This little section right here. I hope you can see it. But that little section, right here, where you can have like real stories. Thank you. all of those different places where you could just kind of put your little story things there if you want to have things. But in one of those sections, he had it where he's like a workout. He likes to work out, and in between in that workout, there was a reel of him shooting a firearm at a gun range. And then we come to find out that this was a gun range in Los Angeles. He testified, and here's the third lie. First, he said he never shot the gun at the gun range. That's the third lie. The fourth lie, he said, well, that gun range was in New Jersey. Now, what we did know, what we found out during court, is that ASAP really watches Twitter, he watches YouTube videos, he watches all those different things. Then it was shown that where he was shooting was the Los Angeles fire range. So he was in Los Angeles at a fire range that allowed for semi-automatic firearms to be fired at this gun range. So then when he realized, because he testified that the shooting range was in New Jersey, and that was on Friday. Well, he hopped his tail on Twitter and X and YouTube and everything like that. And then he started realizing, everybody started talking about that gun range wasn't in New Jersey. It says LA. So then he had to come back. He called the prosecution that I guess that Sunday when he realized, they done found me out. And then he says, I remember when I shot this gun. So when did you shoot this gun at the shooting range? Oh, about 2 weeks prior to the incident. Now, why to me is that significant? They didn't go far into it in court. But to me, what was significant is, number one, they had ASAP Relly's phone, and no one did GPS tracking on his phone, because had they done that, they'd have been able to find out where he took those pictures of the shell casings, number one. And number two, they would have been able to see in those 2 days that before he went to the police, did he go by that fire range for any reason? Even if he was parked a half a mile away, no one went to go see where he was in regards to that shooting range. And for me, that was significant, had the defense been able to really push that, because they could have shown, or that would bolster their case about that gun being a prop gun, because you didn't find any shell casings when you went, but there is no photos to show that he ever went that way. He just went on and got him some shell casings and brought him into the police. Now, what's significant about those shell casings, that what the defense did put in, is that ASAP Rocky had guns in his home. He had real guns. But what they also showed is that he purchased those guns after the incident. So it was like 4 or 5 months after the incident. So he purchased those guns 4 or 5 months. He had permits and everything for the guns they found. They never found a 9mm gun. They only found a magazine. But the owner of the magazine, who is ASAP Lou, I believe, said that was purchased, and the gun that he had, that he has as a 9mm, it didn't fit. So that's why it was there, because mostly the guns that they recovered from ASAP Rocky's home were like shotgun type of guns. ASAP Relly was very argumentative with the defense. He wouldn't answer the questions, and he even stated that when he was confronted with inconsistencies in his testimony, he did say out live in the court that because he had a disdain for Attorney Tacopino, that he was lying just so that he can get his testimony over with. So they have poked. So ASAP Rocky's team, every time the prosecution came up with something, they would poke some holes in it. Now, one of the things that we noticed with the prosecution in regards to this verdict is that they were able to show that there was a gun in ASAP Rocky's hand that looked like a semi-automatic. And it fired. Now, the thing about it, they said that when it fires, it's a louder pop. I don't know. I've never fired a prop gun. I don't know. I've fired real guns, but I've never fired a pop gun. So I don't know how much the sound quality is what I'm basically trying to say. I don't know about the sound qualities of those types of guns. uh, the prosecution basically showed their videos. They basically were honing in on the fact that a witness called in the shooting, uh, that the police responded to the shooting, and that they had video of they had clear video of what happened in the car park. We didn't see him like point the gun. We never saw him point the gun. All we saw him was is he was fumbling, looking like he was I couldn't tell if he was trying to take it out of his pants or he was trying to put it back in his pants. We had testimony. So we had testimony from ASAP 12. He was a very good witness. He basically said what he saw, and basically what he saw is that he said that ASAP really, once they met, they were talking, and then ASAP really got real aggressive, and he yoked up kind of ASAP Rocky and was pulling ASAP Rocky back. ASAP Rocky was fighting, but you can see that, but you can't tell who was pushing or who was tugging. We just saw them go into the car park garage, and then they went out of the camera's view. He said that they were arguing, and he said that ASAP Rocky appeared to look like he was putting the gun. He saw the gun. He knew it was the prop gun because of the clip. Now, apparently, this prop gun has a specialized clip, belt clip, and then it also has the magazine that goes in it. He says it's clear with a white section at the bottom of it. So you could clear that was a prop gun. They said they used this prop gun on a music video, that ASAP Rocky was at this music video. So he was aware of this prop gun. ASAP Rocky said he wasn't aware of the prop gun. So according to ASAP 12, he says that ASAP Rocky got really, really aggressive. He started talking and mouthing, and then he started fighting with ASAP Ills. And he said that he was holding and shoving, and he was punching ASAP Ills. They were going towards the ground. ASAP Rocky saw this. He thought his friend was in danger, so he shot up. He shot up a couple of shots. Pow! Second. Pow! And they said that then ASAP Rocky was trying to. I guess he thought he was going to shoot a third time because he was moving and pushing and doing this. Moving. ASAP 12 said. Now, what I just described, that's what ASAP Rocky said. What ASAP 12 said was he was punching and hitting, and ASAP Ills was trying to get away from him and pull away from him, but he kept pulling on him and doing all kinds of stuff. He shot. Once the shots was, he let go. Three of them went one way. ASAP Rocky went another way. So it all is really boiling down to whose version of the story do you believe? Because I think both the prosecution and the defense have good parts, but it just depends on who you believe. And they have not. They were supposed to come at about 23 minutes ago, but they're not here yet. Hold up. All right. So I've been following the people that are at the courthouse. And let's see. So Megan Cuniff is there. She just on her X account, there are extra sheriff's deputies stationed around the courthouse. Paparazzis are still awaiting Rocky's arrival. So he hasn't shown up at the court just yet. So once he gets there, because he is the star of the show. So they're just waiting for Rocky, and he hasn't shown up yet. And Mel from I'm Not a Lawyer But is also at the courtroom. But I don't see any text from her at this moment. She's just saying that they're just waiting. So everybody's there so far except for Rocky. So we're just waiting on ASAP Rocky to come. Like I said, he was supposed to have been there at I'm in Central Time, so that should have been 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is 7 p.m. and that's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is Los Angeles time. So he was supposed to be there almost 30 minutes ago, and he has not arrived. So again, it's just basically whose word, whose version you believe. Now, for some side information, uh, there was a brief hearing this motion about motions, and the prosecution stated that he wanted the defense attorney fined because he violated the gag order. Now, if you haven't been following, this weekend, was it yesterday? Yesterday, Joe Tacopino went on a YouTube. Let me see if I can find that YouTube. Hold on. They went on Justice Served TV and did an interview. He just they he did an interview. He did not talk about the ins and outs of the case, but apparently, as any journalist will ask, they're going to ask questions. They asked a specific question in regards to a sidebar, and what we learned, when was it, Friday? Shout out to Katna Williams. We learned on her channel Friday that the prosecutor Llewellyn, had been he had a case from the ninth district overturned over in the state of California because the courts had ruled that the prosecution had lied to the jury. And the he was upset about that. He didn't think, because he was like, his name has, he don't want anybody to besmirchify his name. He didn't want anybody to besmirch his name and everything, and he's not lied. But they were saying no, there is a decision by the Ninth Circuit that said that you, as a prosecutor, in your instructions or whatever you said to the jury in your testimony, and get that you lied. You did not give them certain pieces of information. You lied about certain pieces of information. And so, why is that important? Because during the closing arguments, the defense got really huffy because they said that the video that was shown to the jury during the closing arguments of the prosecution wasn't the video that was shown during the trial. They said that the sound appeared that it had changed when the sound of the shots fired, and they had moved it up a second, anywhere from 1 to 3 seconds. And that makes a big difference if you're looking at a video and you're narrating how something happened. And so they had a motion today, and they were arguing back and forth about it. So I need ASAP Rocky to get to the courtroom, because I don't know if he's anxious or not, but I am. I'm ready to see what's going on. Rihanna, I know, baby. You know, I know. But let that man go. Now is not the time for you to send him nowhere on that plane. So what are y'all thinking down in the chat? So let me see. I know that there's a way to do it. Here it is. So let me do this. I'm going to put a poll in the chat, and just to poll the chat to see what you all are thinking. All right, so I put the poll down in there. It's basically, do you think ASAP Rocky is guilty or not guilty? Y'all let me know. I'm going to let that poll stay up while we just wait to see what's going on. Oh. What are y'all thinking so far? So far, y'all are saying not guilty. The poll is in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. Do you think ASAP Rocky is guilty or not guilty? Not guilty? All right, let's share this tab. So, as of 13 minutes ago, according to Mel, What's Media, we are just waiting. Deputy District Attorney Llewellyn has arrived. And they're sitting out in the courtroom. And they're still waiting. So ASAP Rocky has not just of yet. So we're just going to wait on ASAP Rocky. And let me see if I can find. So while we wait, let's watch the hearing that happened this morning. And if when they come in, I definitely will
Yeah, the jury's over there, so they gotta keep us awake.
All right, you ready, Kevin?
I'm ready.
All right, we'll go on the record in Mr. Mayer's case. He is not present. Do you waive your client's presence for
Yes, that's fine.
purposes?
Yes,
All right, two issues that we're going to deal with. One is the allegation that Mr. Tacopina violated the gag order. The other is the defense position that Mr. Lewin misled the jury in his summation. The first issue regarding the gag order, I don't need any response from anybody. I don't want from anybody. I was forwarded the part that was believed that Mr. Tacopina violated the gag order, and I had to listen to it a number of times, and I wrote it down word for word. And this is what Mr. Tacopina said when he was interviewed by, is your last name Baden?
yes. Kenny Martin, Linda Kenny Martin.
That's Kenney. I'm not sure how to spell the last name.
And her partner is
Michael Bryan.
Brian. All right, Miss Baden asked you if you could comment on what was said at the sidebar, and this is what you said. There is one part of the gag order still in effect. Actually, that's not right. There was only one part of the gag order.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is one part of the gag order still in effect. And it has to do with a particular sidebar conference that we had regarding the question that you are asking about right now. In that regard, I can't really speak to anything the judge said at the sidebar during Relly's testimony. I do not believe that is a violation of the gag order. That's the ruling. I don't need any response from anybody else. from anybody. All right, the motion filed by the defense. I've read the motion. Mr. Lewin, did you want to respond?
The motion's absurd. It's being done clearly, as was the interview, to attempt to sway the jury. It's interesting that after telling the court repeatedly and counsel on the record that he would not be doing any interviews during the pendency of this trial, that the day before the jury deliberates, he does.
No. I'm done with that.
I'm explaining the motion. The motion, number one, sets out two apparently issues. One is that he is trying to say that I intentionally switched photographs. Now I'm going to show them up to the court. It's patently absurd. Just so it's clear, I got in this case extremely late. I was on the case basically. I started the day before trial. So I had the exhibits from my co-counsel. The exhibit list that I had.
Now, if you have not been following this trial, you have to know that this prosecutor, he's a me, see me. He any little thing, any infraction, he gets upset because when this trial started, he wanted the court to admonish Tapakino, which is this guy right here, where my cursor is on. He wanted him to be admonished because he said that he talked to him too gruffly.
He had a number of photos of the victim's fingers, the injury that he had. The exhibit that I had and that I used in closing, although it was on his exhibit list that he gave me, it's not the photo that he used. But just so it's clear, Mr. President, just so it's clear, both photos, this is the correct exhibit, as the court is aware, and this exhibit basically shows the injury to the
What
finger.
exhibit was that?
This is People's 17. I used a photo which also shows his hand with the injuries, thinking that was the exhibit that was used. As the court is aware, does the court need me to come up to the court to examine them or not?
No.
They're showing the same thing. There's absolutely no prejudice. It's absurd.
And I know that was correct.
Yes. Regarding the second issue, let me be clear about this. We admitted People's 15. I had no part in gathering those videos. I got them from my co-counsel. Both parties, both the defense and the people, slowed down their respective exhibits during closing argument. I said on the record, I am playing this at half speed. When you slow down a video, it slows down how it is played. It does not change how the video is presented. But I want to add something else. Both Mr. Przemyk and I have been extremely clear from the start. It is not when the particular gunshot was fired. What is important is, and this is demonstrated on the video, is that the cause of the incident was not the victim attacking ASAP Ills. It was the defendant pulling out his firearm. That is what prompts, when he pulls out the firearm, that is what prompts the victim to try to hide behind Ills. So the idea that somehow I slowed down or changed the video is absurd. I don't even have the capability to do it. What I did is exactly what I said. I played it at a reduced speed, which, by the way, before I did my argument, counsel got up on the other side and he said, I'm going to play this at slow speed, his exhibit. Now, if we go back one step, the defense had an issue apparently with the surveillance videos that Mr. Przemyk gave them well in advance of this case. After the conclusion of our case, and actually at the end of their case, they actually moved the court, if the court can recall, because they wanted to put in a different video. The court allowed that video in. That video is evidence, our video is evidence. I would finally add that what is said in closing argument is not evidence in the case. What is said in closing argument is argument. The exhibits speak for themselves. And finally, because it needs to be addressed, counsel is apparently in discussions with a couple of lawyers on 2 murder cases, which I won, where that appellate lawyer is involved in both of them. And he has basically attempted to tarnish my well-deserved 30-year reputation, which
Now, he is truthful saying that he did win, but the case that he did win was overturned by an appellate court.
The court has commented on repeatedly. There has only been one time in this case where a court has found that there was any violation that was not inadvertent, and that did not occur with the people. So let's be clear. When they put in their motion, and there's no reason for it, Your Honor, they quote a Ninth Circuit opinion, which, by the way, was reversed, not for prosecutorial misconduct, it was reversed for instructional error. But I'm just going to add that Justice Hofstede, who is one of the most outstanding justices in the California court system, wrote the original opinion, found no error whatsoever. Neither did the Cal Supreme Court. Neither did the federal district court judge who looked at the case. And I will just add that in the very Ninth Circuit opinion that they cite, which was a 2-to-1 decision, if you go to the dissent makes clear in their dissent that, in fact, my argument about Joe Giarrusso and the fact that the victim in that case was alone at the time of the murder, the majority felt that because she had hours before the murder, that meant she was not alone that night. As the dissent made clear, and as the California Court of Appeal made clear, I was commenting on the fact that at the time she was murdered in the middle of the night, almost beheaded, she was by herself. Now, why that has any business in a motion they filed, you would have to ask them. But I find it extremely interesting that given the repeated discovery violations, which the court has found, given the leaks to the media, which, by the way, the individual.
All right, they're saying that the media is being let in. I don't see at this any changes in the script. So we're going to continue this particular motions that were filed today while the, I think before the jury went in to deliberate. So let's get back to it.
Individual who did the interview yesterday, who is apparently Mr. Tacopina's close friend and law school education partner, she is the one who reported an alleged conversation that originally occurred at sidebar. I find it rich that the defense makes these allegations. They are slanderous. They are not accurate. And I've got a 30-year reputation with this court and with my office, which I will stand by. And the minute the court finds that I've done anything unethical, I would like the court to say so. I'm going to add one last thing because it's important. The defense was upset because we ended up getting a report from ballistics that was inculpatory. It only would have helped us. As soon as we got it, we turned it over to them. We then made arrangements to get them the evidence. And in fact, we didn't end up doing testing at the court's order because of the timing. The defense was actually given more ability to test the evidence than we were just because of the timing involved. The court found at the time that as soon as we were aware of information, we turned it over. The court is also aware of a second situation, which has not been made public, where we became aware of potential evidence, didn't know whether it would be exculpatory or inculpatory, and we alerted the court to that, and the court ended up making arrangements. Every single issue that we've had in this case regarding discovery, as soon as we find it, we present it to the defense. Finally, the issue with the alleged stipulation with Relly. As the court is aware, and as the court has stated on the record, everybody at the time believed that the stipulation, that the firing range was out of state. That was.
All right, so ASAP Rocky has arrived in court. According to Mel from I'm Not a Lawyer, but it looks like they're waiting on some jurors to come through. And you don't see any sign of Rihanna at this point. So I'll let you continue.
My understanding when it happened. As the court is aware, numerous times during this case, I offered to stipulate to assist the defense. Many times, as the court is aware, Mr. Tacopina would be standing up there, not knowing what his problem was, not knowing what the foundation was, not knowing how to introduce certain evidence. And I would say to him, he would look at me, what's wrong? And I would say, okay, Joe, here's what I can do. And I would stipulate. I made that offer to stipulate because everybody at the time believed firing range was in California. The court has already found that the court believed it. We believe that they offered it. I would further add that the fact that the victim was in California at a firing range 2 weeks before this incident occurred has about almost no relevance or impact on the case. However, when aspersions are made that somehow that was kept from them, or that somehow we ended up asking for a stipulation in anything other than good faith, the court has already made its comments. I would request the court to, and I'm asking the court, if the court thinks that anything that Mr. Proslemek and I have done has been a violation of discovery, has been unethical, I'd like the court to say so. The court has been very clear that that is not the court's belief. In the end, we made a conscious decision, because it's ethical, not to try this case in the press. You haven't seen one comment from us, not one. Mr. Tacopina's motion, or maybe it's motion, I don't know what communication, has insinuated that somehow we're talking to a reporter. We know he's talking to a reporter. Let's back it up.
Make sure y'all hit
I
that
am
like
more
button
than
for
willing
me.
right now to go under oath.
Appreciate
No,
it.
we're not doing that.
Well,
Say we're not doing that.
Well, understood, Your Honor, but I want to make sure that my personal integrity has been impugned. I won't stand for it. I am more than happy. You put me under oath, you put Mr. Tacopina. I understand the court doesn't want to do it, but I want to make sure I've offered that, haven't heard the same thing from Mr. Tacopina. Would love for that to occur.
Who wants to speak?
I'll speak, Your Honor, to
Go on.
this. Okay, because all I've been hearing for the last 10 minutes is deflection here. So Mr. Lewin just
All I'm
asked,
hearing is what?
deflection. All he's doing is deflecting. So first of all, he asked, why we would raise a Ninth Circuit decision. What does it have to do with this? Someone should ask us. Okay, the question's been asked. Here's what it has to do with this. The Ninth Circuit said that Mr. Lewin lied to a jury. That's why. Here he is saying, oh, my reputation.
That is untrue.
I'd let him speak, Your Honor.
Don't interrupt.
Your Honor, I'm not going to have that kind of personal aspersion
Here we go again.
made against my reputation and character. I won't have
Then
it.
take it up with the Ninth Circuit, okay? I didn't say it, they said it.
The Ninth Circuit did not say that.
Your Honor, the Ninth Circuit said there was an untruth that was presented to the jury by this individual right here, regardless of the basis for reversal. That's what the Ninth Circuit said. And the reason we raised it with respect to this is because there's a claim of prosecutorial misconduct. And by the way, let's deal with this in reverse. The stipulation, right? Because that was one issue of prosecutorial misconduct. I just heard Mr. Lewin say that everyone believed that shooting range was out of state. Who believed that? The witness didn't know that. Mr. Tacopina didn't know that. In fact, did Mr. Lewin know that it was out of state? Did he? Because I find that very difficult to believe, given the fact that it was not out of state. So either one of two things happened, and Mr. Tacopina said this previously. Either one, he knew it wasn't out of state and tried to lie to the jury, or best case scenario for Mr. Lewin, he didn't know and asked for a stipulation. Now, on this point, let me just note, I know that Mr. Lewin apparently,
Slow down.
fine, fair enough. I know that Mr. Lewin,
Slow down.
I know, Your Honor, that Mr. Lewin, because he's represented this to other people, is, my understanding, knowledgeable about firearms. He carries them. I find it very difficult to believe that Mr. Lewin did not know that the LA shooting range is not in Los Angeles. So when he's here trying to bolster his own reputation.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask the counsel to not bring up anything personal about what I do or do not do when I'm outside of the office.
Then-
It is absolutely inappropriate.
Fair comment. That's fair.
Well, Your Honor, when this individual,
Just
Mr. Lewin.
talk about your motion. That's what I want you to talk about.
Well, okay,
If you
Your
want
Honor.
to talk.
Oh, I
I read
definitely
it.
want to.
All 11 pages.
Thank you very much,
Stick to
Your Honor.
that.
Fine. The claim here is one of prosecutorial misconduct, and specific deliberate prosecutorial misconduct, which is why I was raising these other issues and just responding to Mr. Lewin. With that said, let me focus on the motion. So, we didn't raise it to distract, mislead the jury. To the contrary, the misleading was done by the prosecution. If the court will recall, at the end of Friday's proceedings, we raised this issue with the court, and similar to us looking at.
So for those of you all who are just joining, what we're doing is we're waiting for court to reconvene, that we can hear the jury's verdict. Apparently, ASAP Rocky is in the courtroom. We were waiting for him. He is now there. There is tons and tons of press and people there waiting on this verdict. I do believe that they're waiting for the jurors, all the jurors to get together to come in. So this is what the holdup, because initially the holdup was ASAP Rocky hadn't arrived. Well, ASAP Rocky has arrived. There's just tons of people trying to come in to hear about this verdict. So I guess that they're trying to make as much room as they can for the people to come in, and also they're waiting for the jury. And once the jury comes in, we'll definitely go back to this thing. But this is a motion that was played out this morning. The prosecution filed a motion to have the defense attorney, Joe Tacopino, he's the one with his hands on his mouth, crossed around his mouth, have him fined or admonished because they said that he broke the gag order. The judge has ruled that he didn't hear anything in an interview that Mr. Tacopino did yesterday, that he violated the gag order. So now the defense is pushing a motion stating that they believe impropriety from the prosecution, saying that there was some improprieties going on, and they were using a decision by the Ninth Circuit Supreme Court of California. And so this is what they're arguing back and forth. And hit that like button for me.
At the video on the screen, that it was altered. We then asked Mr. Lewin, would you show us the PowerPoint, solve this issue now, and avoid potential appellate issues? You would think at a bare minimum, to avoid this very matter, he would have said, sure, take a look at it. Instead, no, he adamantly refused, packed his bags, and got out of that courtroom as fast as anyone could. Now, we then fortunately had the opportunity to look at that video because it was televised on court TV. And sure enough, it was altered. That wasn't People's Exhibit 15, okay? What the video that Mr. Lewin presented to this jury during summation showed was the shot taking place before Relly ran towards Ills. Now, the prosecution says, oh, it's not a significant issue. The timing of the shot couldn't be more significant with respect to the claim of self-defense. Now, perhaps Mr. Lewin doesn't realize that it's an issue in this case when he and the prosecution in general told the jury they only have one matter to consider, which is a prop gun. That's not the case. Self-defense, of course, is an issue in this matter. It finds that there was no prop gun.
Yes. We were told they had a verdict. That's correct.
Both sides ready for the jury? Yes.
Yes.
All right, here we go. The jury is coming in, and then we're about to get this verdict.
Alternate for 102.
And you see you all's poll in the chat. So
All right, we're on the record with all jurors present, all parties of counsel are present. Juror 9, you are the foreperson? Yes. And it is true that the jury has reached verdicts? Yes, Your Honor. On both counts? Yes, Your Honor. All right, you have the verdict form with you? Yes, Your Honor. All right, could you give those to Deputy Bennett?
okay, here we go. I say there's going to be a split, but let's see.
All right, what we're going to do, folks, is Deputy Bennett is going to give the verdict forms to juror number 1. Juror number 1, I want you to look at the verdict forms, and I'm going to want to know whether these verdict forms reflect your true and correct verdicts. Juror 2, I'd like you to look over her shoulder so you can review the verdict forms. And I want to know from you whether these are your true and correct verdicts. Once I've heard from both of you, give the verdict forms to juror number 3. Juror 3, look at the verdict forms. Juror 4, look over her shoulder. So ultimately, I'm going to want to hear from all 12 of you whether these verdict forms reflect your individual true and correct verdicts. Everybody? Understand? All right.
So he's doing this so that he don't have to poll the jury later.
Juror number 1, are those your two correct verdicts? Juror number 2,
Yes.
juror 3 and 4?
Yes.
Juror 5 and 6? Juror 5, are those your two correct verdicts? Yes. Juror 6?
Yes.
All right, let's get the verdict forms to juror 7. Juror 8, look over your shoulder. Juror number 7, those are your two correct verdicts?
All right.
Juror 7?
Yes.
Juror 8?
Now they usually do jury polls after the verdict has been rendered. I think if he's guilty, they're gonna take him right on back.
Juror 9?
Yes.
Juror 10?
Yes.
11 and 12. Juror 11?
Yes.
Juror 12?
Yes.
All right, all jurors have stated that the verdict forms reflect their individual true and correct verdicts. Alex, read this.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you're watching closed caption is
The
usually
Los
about
Angeles
3
Superior
seconds
Court,
behind.
County of Los Angeles. People of the state of California versus Joaquin Mayers, case number BA 508142-01. We, the jury in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of
Not guilty, but I don't know if he said the first or second, not guilty.
Now get the audience.
Did you run to Brianna? Who did you run to, y'all?
Hold it down, hold it down. Verdict has to be read on camera.
So that was the first
Again,
count.
we, the jury, above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of
They found him not guilty, y'all.
in violation of Penal Code Section 245.
Nobody really believed ASAP Rally. Nobody.
Information this 18th day of February 2025, jury seat.
Nobody believed his line behind.
Title for
Nobody.
cause, we, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Joaquin Mayers, not guilty of the firearm in violation of Penal Code Section 245.
Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, y'all.
18th day of February 2025, juror seat number 94 person.
During this trial, you did what we asked of you at the very beginning, which is to give both sides a fair trial, pay attention, use your common sense, apply the law, base your verdict.
They didn't believe ASAP Rally. They could not believe it. That man lied on stand like I am breathing today. Not
We
guilty
cannot
on
have jury
all
trials on
counts.
folks like this.
Not guilty.
So you certainly have my gratitude.
Nobody believed
I
ASAP Rally.
want to extend to you
ASAP
my best
Rally
wishes.
didn't believe
Again,
ASAP
thank
Rally.
you. The admonition to not discuss the case of
Oh,
law applies.
my
About the case
goodness.
with anybody you want to or nobody if you don't want to. Alex has your certificates of completion. You can take your juror badges with you. Thank you again. You are excused.
That man going home.
Everybody remain seated in the public. We're gonna let the jurors walk out first.
All right, people. What are we thinking? What are we thinking about old ASAP Rally with his lying ass? When I tell you that man lies like I breathe, that man lies like I breathe. A mess. You knew it from the book Jump Blue. It was too much. It was amazing. I'm just gonna turn the sound down. Hold on. It was just amazing how much this man lied. It was all for money.
The jury's
You're
left
exactly right, Lord.
exonerated. Mayor's excused.
He's been excused. Oh, Llewellyn, why you walking so fast?
Yeah. No.
Oh my gosh, Chad. Loyalty, he's not gonna get that money now, baby, because he has shown that he is a liar. And the lawyers that he has were the lawyers that were for, I don't know if it was for Amber Heard or Johnny Depp. I think it was for Amber Heard. I bet you them people are not they have canceled him as a client because he got up here and sat up on this stand and lied through every prospect of his teeth. Do you hear me? Every prospect of his teeth. Lied. You lied about this case. I'm like Kendrick Lamar now. You lied. You lied. Baby, I am so happy for him. Y'all, I am let me see what I can do. I am happy for him. I you know, because I just think that was messed up. That was messed up how excuse me, y'all. Because ever since I stopped using StreamYard and I'm just using YouTube, things are so different now. There's places that I can't find. All right, hold on. I got myself into stuff I ain't got no business being in. Hold on. So he just lied about everything. And it's so sad. It is so sad to know how bad this man lied on this stand and how he sat up here for this whole thing to try to get, all of this was about money. Every last instance of this, whatever it is you want to believe, this was about money. So this is what I'm going to do, y'all. I'm getting ready to go. I have someplace to go. I have this my live to redirect to Kat's live. So if you still want to have a conversation, and I'll probably meet you over there in about 10 minutes, but I'm going to end the stream. And once I end the stream, you'll be taken directly over to Kat Not Williams live, and I will join you over there. But y'all, ASAP Rocky is not guilty. All right. Please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.